The prince was accused of a conflict of interest over his Duchy of Cornwall investments in the Cayman Islands. Among enterprises which benefited was an environmental management firm linked to one of his closest friends, Hugh Van Cutsem. BBC One's Panorama claimed the estate made about £100,000 after Charles campaigned for rule changes which would have benefited Sustainable Forestry Management (SFM). It is not suggested that Charles had any personal knowledge of the investments or made any personal financial gains from them. Getty. Prince Charles was drawn into the Paradise Papers' rule last night. Alastair Graham said Charles' actions amounted to a serious conflict of interest. I think it's unfortunate that somebody of his importance, of his influence, becomes involved in such a serious conflict. Sir Alastair Graham, however, last night's claims, just days after the Duchy of Lancaster, the Queen's private estate, was said to have invested £10 million offshore, are bound to be embarrassing to the heir. Sir Alastair Graham, former chairman of the Committee on Standards and Public Life, said Charles' actions amounted to a serious conflict of interest. He said, I think it's unfortunate that somebody of his importance, of his influence, becomes involved in such a serious conflict. The leaked documents, held by law firm Appleby, show the Duchy of Cornwall made offshore investments totaling nearly £2.7 million in 4 Cayman Islands funds in 2007. Monday, October 9, 2017, Prince Charles releases a rehabilitated turtle into the sea on Golden Bay. Officials bought $113,500 in SFM shares, worth £60,000 at the time, and the stake almost tripled in value in just over a year. Mr. Van Cutsem, who died 4 years ago, was a director of the company at the time and was said to have introduced Charles to its board. Although the prince campaigned for the rule changes which would have benefited the company, they were never introduced and it is not clear why the share price rose. A Duchy spokesman said yesterday that Charles voluntarily pays income tax on any revenue from his estate. He added that the estate's investments do not derive any tax advantage whatsoever based on their location or any other aspect of their structure, and there is no loss of revenue to HMRC as a result. A Clarence House spokesman said the Prince of Wales had certainly never chosen to speak out on a topic because of a company that it may have invested in. In the case of climate change, his views are well known. He has been warning of the threat of global warming for over 30 years. Graham Smith, spokesman for anti-monarchy pressure group Republic, said Charles has secretly invested in a company that may well have benefited enormously from his lobbying and public speeches. At no time did Charles declare his personal financial interest in this issue. We must be able to expect the highest standards from a future head of state. A Duchy spokesman said yesterday that Charles voluntarily pays income tax on any revenue. Charles has always made a virtue of his close involvement in the management of the Duchy. He cannot now blame officials or accountants. Any other public official or politician would be sacked for this kind of behavior. It is a clear abuse of public office. The twist came as the Buckingham Palisade, criticized for allowing the Queen's name to be dragged into the row, was honored. Sir Mark Hudson, chairman of the Duchy of Lancaster Council, which runs the Queen's private estate, received his Knight Commander of the Royal Victorian Order from the Queen. Other names involved include F1 champion Lewis Hamilton, U2's Bono, ex-Tory treasurer Lord Ashcroft, and stars of BBC One's Mrs. Brown's Boys.